Hello friends, in last lecture we have seen the definition of communication as communication is a process of exchanging information, ideas, thoughts, feelings and emotions through speech, signals, writing or behavior. In this lecture we are going to see different types of communication. Based on communication channels used, there are two major types of communication. First one is verbal communication and second one is non-verbal communication. In verbal communication, message is transmitted verbally and communication is done by word of mouth and a piece of writing, and therefore verbal communication has two major types. The first one is oral communication and second one is written communication. So let's see in detail the oral communication. As its name identifies, oral communication is done through spoken words, and we have examples of oral communication like face-to-face conversations, then meetings, speeches, telephone conversations, videos, radio, television, voice over internet, teleconferencing and video conferencing, etc. In written communication, written signs or symbols are used to communicate. Examples are different kinds of letters we write, then emails, then fax, text messaging, memos, reports, notices, newsletter and bulletin, business cards and media releases, etc. As we have seen that there are two major types of communication. First one is verbal communication, and in verbal communication you have written and oral communication. The other part is, or other type of communication is non-verbal communication. Most of the times we communicate our feelings, ideas, thoughts through non-verbal codes. These codes may be facial expressions, gestures, postures, and hand and hair movements, etc. These are all constitute non-verbal communication. Here we do not use words to communicate. Instead we use some symbols, some expressions, etc. Traffic signals, signs and symbols are the examples of non-verbal communication. Based on the intimacy between the communicatee and communicator, there are two different types. One is formal communication and other one is informal communication. These types are based on certain rules. In formal communication, we follow certain rules, conventions and principles, while in informal communication, there is lack of all these. When we talk to our close friends at a bus stand, this can be considered as informal communication, and when you talk to your principal, that is an example of formal communication. Based on the hierarchy in the organization, horizontal and vertical communication types are there. When we talk to the person who is at the same level in the organization as we are, for example, as a head of the department, when you talk to the other head of the department, that is an example of horizontal communication. In vertical communication, there are two subtypes. One is upward communication and other one is downward communication. As the flow goes upwards, uh, while a subordinate talks to you as a superordinate, that is called as upward communication. And when higher authorities give instructions to lower authorities, that is an example of downward communication, as the flow is downward. And the last type of communication is grapevine communication, and the best example of grapevine communication is the employees are sitting together at a lunch time and they are discussing different topics such as at a time. That is an example of grapevine communication. So friends, we have seen different types of communications today. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.